Well, this afternoon, as we celebrate farmers across the country, stakeholders are pushing for government to increase investment in the agricultural sector to ensure that the country is food secure. My colleague Gaben Sabote engaged the 1996 National Best Farmer, George Alokodango, who is making a case for government to consider borehole facilities as part of incentives for farmers to reduce the cost of farming. And for those of you who missed it, here are excerpts of their conversation from Polugu in the Upper East region.
You go down, we've started. Some have started doing only.
Okay.
But what I do is there's a man-made lake here. So I have 2 big water pumps.
Okay.
That can supply the whole of
the whole area.
The whole 70 acres. The whole area is 100. But we're utilizing 70 at the moment.
So you don't have issue with irrigation?
No. The only problem is that the high cost of fuel.
What do you use the fuel for?
For irrigating. We put inside the pumping machines. I'll open and go with you and you see.
Okay. So and especially with the mangoes, where they have gotten to, do you still have to pump to water them?
Yes. Normally, at this their age, because of the weather here, you have to water at least twice. Twice in a month.
In a month?
In a month, you give them water twice because of the harsh weather conditions. But we're down south at this age, when it's about 5 years, you don't water them again. All what you do is you keep on spraying and applying fertilizer. Yeah, the fertilizer application on the mango is not like this thing. The mango tree, you dig a hole around it. You see, then put the fertilizer and cover it. And when the water comes, you see that it will ship.
I see. So how has it been, especially with the mango? Is it difficult?
The beginning was difficult, but you know, up here, people haven't tried mango. I decided to try it. And it's been well.
10 years or more than 10 years ago, you were declared the best farmer nationally. I mean, the former president, Jerry Rawlings, gave you all the necessary equipment and the cash prizes, stuff like that. How was it like? I mean, what went into that? What were some of the farming, products that you were harvesting or you were cultivating before getting this?
I had a 300-acre rice field at a condition. Then here, the whole area is 100 acres. And I cultivated 50 acres of maize. Then I did a sorghum, 30 acres. Then I had cowpea and cowpea and soybean, 20 acres. I have a cattle ranch too, numbering 250 cattle.
Wow.
Not the local type.
Okay.
The Burkina type. So I harvested a lot of maize and rice that I used to supply to seed company. Most of my products were seed. I specialize in seed production. So if I produce maize, it's satisfied seed. Rice, satisfied seed. So that I send them to seed company. They clean. We bag them in kilos, so 1 kilo, 5 kilo, 2 kilos, for sale to input dealers. I had input dealers who will come and take it, lift it from me.
I can say by then you were a young man, so...
Oh yeah, very young. I won that. I was then about 45 years old. 44, 45 years.
Okay. So
1996. Actually, I was an accountant, working with Accountant General. I resigned in 1984 and went into farming.
Wow. And
since then, I haven't regretted.
So you're a chartered accountant?
Yes. I resigned at Accountant General as a principal accounting officer, 1984. I resigned and went into farming.
So does it mean the farming is paying more than being an accountant at the Accountant General at the time?
Exactly.
Can that same story be said?
Currently now, no. because imports have gone up very high. Secondly, too, the soils here are depleting day in, day out.
The polygon source?
Yes. Not only the whole upper east region, upper west, part of northern. See that the soil, we have been utilizing the land for long. Now when you go in, either you apply more fertilizer, which is very costly, and the ordinary farmer cannot afford. First, you used to do 1 acre, 1 bag of fertilizer. You can do it per acre. Now, you put 1 bag of fertilizer in an acre of maize, you see it growing yellow. So you need to increase it to about 2 or 3 bags per acre before you can get at least yields that are encouraging.
Does it mean the capacity of the fertilizer that used to do, let's say 1 acre, the capacity has reduced, or the quantity? Is it the quantity that have reduced, or the quality? It is
not the quantity, it's not the quality. It is the price.
The cost?
The cost.
Okay, the costs have gone up.
Have gone up. And the soils too have depleted. You know, if you have land that you keep on cultivating it year in, year out, definitely the input, the agrochemicals, what you put into that same soil to be able to harvest your maximum use, you need to increase. Okay. That brings a high cost of.
So does it mean now it costs more to do farming than previously?
Yes.
20 years ago when you received
it
the best
costs
farming?
More. Now, 20 years ago, I think I was paying by those days was 2 cedis, 50 pesos. Now, doing by day, you have to pay 50 cedis. If you are lucky, 40 cedis. Because you have to give the laborer 10 cedis for food. Then at the end of the day, you give that same laborer 30 cedis.
Wow.
So that means you've done, and we start, well, we don't come early. At times we start 9 or 10, and we close 3 or 4.
And
we go for a break, okay. 1 hour break. Okay. So you see that in the end, maybe you have been working for just about 5 hours. And the fellow takes 50 Ghana.
Wow.
See. But those days, come early, the soils are good, you farm, and you get a lot.
What about the services of these tractors and stuff? Elsewhere, I understand they are also...
Very, tractor service is very costly. That's why during Lawrence's time, we got tractors. What he did was that there was something like KR4, this thing, the Japanese grant. Lawrence went to Japan, got a Japanese grant. That grant, they weren't giving cash. The Japanese would bring in agri implements like tractors, their trailers, their plow, harrow ridges. Then they brought in cultivators, they brought in harvesters, threshers, combined harvesters for those of us who are in Fombisi. So those days, you don't need to go and waste 1 month in Fombisi to harvest your rice. You could even get to agri, just go to agri engineering, and they will bring in a combine, come and harvest and pay in kind or in cash. But these days, that Japanese grant is no more. So I wish that if the government can't, revamp it.
But there's planting for food and jobs.
Yes, there's planting for food and jobs. But if you are planting for food and the farmer, the ordinary farmer here, look at what we are doing. See that we are using hands.
Yes.
That we should have had a stretcher to come and stretch. But the stretchers are not there. You understand?
Yes.
Rollins's time, there were noted key farmers like me. We had regional key farmers, district key farmers. They were given this input, and they in turn helped the farmers around them. Like as I'm here, I have 250 farmers. Out of them, 100 are men and 150 female. So you can see that if you have women, you have to work hard for them because they are not like men.
Yes. See. But now it's no more.
But now it's no more because you do all the services, you get your produce, no market. That is one major thing. We don't have market.
Market
Even
is
market for rice, market for maize, we don't get market. They brought in this school feeding and they lifted some. When they did it, they will leave some.
So they will not buy all?
They will not buy all.
Why?
Well, you see that they will go and get from elsewhere.
Okay.
You see.
So do you have rice in stock?
Currently, I don't have rice in stock. We are now preparing to go and harvest.
Okay. But the school feeding has also helped in a way.
Yeah, the school feeding has helped a lot. It has helped uptake some of our produce, like rice. You send it to seed company, they will mill it, and then they will also pick it. As for maize, they come, they weigh. Unlike those days, they feel it. No, they will come and they will weigh, they will bargain, they tell you the price.
And be sure to watch a playback of that conversation on all of our social media handles and at myjoyonline.com. But it's also bringing to the fore the concerns of the average farmer out there as we celebrate the National Farmers' Day. Joining us now is Bismarck Owusu-Tetteh, Head of Programs at the Peasant Farmers Association, joining us via Zoom now. Thank you so much, sir, for spending some time with us. And you've worked closely, I must say, with farmers across the country, so you know what their concerns are. At least the 1996 Best Farmer is talking about some mechanized boreholes just to help an all-year-round irrigation type of farming. But beyond these concerns, what are the imminent policy measures you would say that government needs to consider in a bid to improve the livelihood of the average farmer?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. Let me also use the opportunity to wish all our farmers a very happy Farmers' Day. We know it's not been easy trying to farm and produce food in the most difficult of situations in the country. It's one of the sacrifices that they've been doing, and we need to use this day to commend them for how far they've brought the nation. Zooming in on your question regarding what needs to be done immediately, I think first and foremost, the challenges are enormous, but let me just try and see if I can prioritize a few that we could see if government would pay attention. First and foremost, one of the major problems that we face as farmers is access to credit. Now, a lot of times you hear people say that, why is it that farmers always want government to provide support for them? Why do they want support in terms of input, support in terms of seed, support in terms of fertilizer, or any other services? And then we say that probably it's because the environment is not conducive for us to get these things at very good rates. My brother, now if you are a businessman into farming, or if you want to go into production and you need capital, you need to go to the bank to get a loan. The least interest rate you are paying on that facility is about 35%. And that is in addition to you providing a collateral to the bank. Even if you are going into production, that's the actual work on the farm, then the probability of you even getting the loan is very low, because the banks will tell you that agric is risky, so they won't invest their money. So even the financing that goes to agric even goes more at the end of the value chain, maybe for processing or for aggregation. For that, they are comfortable to fund, but not actual production. So it means that the costs of producing, as the National Best Farmer alluded to, the cost of inputs, seed, fertilizer, the cost of services, mechanization, and the rest are so expensive that it makes it difficult for the average farmer to be able to afford those particular inputs and produce enough for us. So one of our major challenges is how we can ensure that we are able to get some kind of facility that's able to enable us get the input we need. And anytime we talk about it, you hear the narration about, oh, there's the GESAL, there's the development bank. As I said, those interventions do not even support direct production. They look at the extreme end of the value chain, and that's a major problem. Secondly, we're also talking about agricultural infrastructure. And here, what do I mean? We are heavily reliant on rain-fed agric. If it rains, we do very well. If it doesn't rain, we are in trouble. The challenge is that how come 60 years from independence, we've not been able to put up adequate irrigation facilities across the country? Whether small dugout, whether a huge multi-purpose dam, whether a borehole that can provide water, how come we've not been able to make that a priority to ensure that every year, every season, the farmers can continue to do their farming? The third part has to deal with how we deal with issues around post-harvest. As I earlier mentioned, because we are always relying on the rain, we have just one season. So when we produce at a point where we are harvesting, there are a lot of the food produced for the market. This releases a lot of gluts and post-harvest losses. How is it that we don't have a system where we can purchase and buy this produce for farmers, store them, and then I'll wait for the lean season and then release them to the market? In that way, we are stabilizing prices. But somehow, we are having an approach that is not holistic enough. So today, you hear government say, I'm doing one village, one factory. They do some shoddy work and they say they are okay. You hear them say, we are doing one district, one warehouse. They put up 1 or 2 warehouses and they say we have arrived.
And in fact, the latest is the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 that we're currently running. I'll take your thoughts on that policy and how to improve it. But this is also happening at the time when, of course, government is considering some level of import restriction. That will definitely mean that we need to boost significantly our domestic production in the areas of rice and other cereals as well. But looking at the outlook of where we are in terms of our production stock, do you feel that government has done well in securing domestic production that would then inure to our benefit if indeed were to apply this import restriction policy that government is seeking to do?
Well, regarding the import restrictions, our position has been very clear on that. We are of the view that, in principle, we agree with government's decision or the fact that government is able to conceptualize the idea to restrict the importation of some particular commodities to the country. Case in point is rice, because we believe that as a country, we have the capacity, we have the comparative advantage to produce rice to meet local demand and even exports. So it makes sense if there's a bar regarding the number of rice that we can bring into the country. But there's a caveat. The fact that you are putting a restriction on these commodities means that internally you have put in place structures to ensure that there's sustainable production of those commodities, where in the next 1 or 2 years we will not come back to the same situation again. And that's where we have a major challenge with government, that if you seek to import rice, what are the laid down structures or measures that you will put in place to empower the local rice farmer to ensure that he produces sustainably? And that is missing. How well have you provided irrigation facilities across rice growing areas in the country? How well have you given mechanization a major thought? If you listen to a lot of our members who want to rice production, one of their major problems is that when it's time for harvesting, access to combined harvesters is a major problem. There are a lot of farmers across the northern part of the country where they are ready to harvest. They don't get access to these combined harvesters. And then when the dry season sets in and the fire sets in, they set their whole rice on fire and they lose all their investment. So if as a country it's not invested enough in mechanization to ensure that we have adequate combined harvesters that will ensure that all year round we are harvesting, then there's a problem.
I see.
If we don't have a system where we are purchasing the rice and putting them in stock, so that as a country we can have a strategic stock of rice available, so that we know that even if you're not doing all year round, we still have a lot of rice that we can go and bring within the country. If this system are not in place, then it becomes very difficult for government to say that you are banning or you are restricting.
Yeah, and I get the point you're making there. It's all about laying the foundation right and getting things right from the start, and that's feeding, and that's indeed feeding into the whole conversation surrounding the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 that government is running now. That's been the flagship project for the Agric Ministry, even as we celebrate National Farmers' Day today, the government going big on that policy. Are we on the right track?
Well, I think that the PFJ phase 2, the minister really began well.
Hello, Bismarck?
It was, at least, can you hear me?
Okay, just take that point for me again, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the PFJ, I think the ministry started very well. This minister at least tried to do a lot of engagements and consultations to get feedback from stakeholders. We like the approach that is a value chain based, in the sense that the interventions are not starting and ending only at the provision of inputs, but providing of services like mechanization up to warehousing and markets. So that's good. But we are beginning to get worried regarding how the ministry wants to implement the PFJ 2.0. And if you're not careful, you might go back to the days of PFJ 1.0. And let's give me a minute, let me just explain. Under the PFJ 2.0, if you read the implementation modalities, the plan is that the government is going to work through what we call the anchor farmer or the aggregator.
Right. Meaning
the aggregator is responsible for providing inputs and services to the smallholder farmer. So meaning government comes nowhere close or nowhere near direct provision of inputs. That's the plan of the PFJ 2. So for us, it was a bit shocking when we read in the 2024 budget that government had already procured seed and fertilizer under PFJ 2 for 2023. And that's a bit shocking to us because there's no way in the plan that government is supposed to do that. In any case, for 2023, the ministry just about 2 months ago laid an expression of interest for aggregators to apply. The results are not yet in. So on which basis the ministry procure and provide the inputs, and to which farmers benefited? Because we had a lot of discussions with farmers across the country, and it appears that no farmer benefited from this.
I see.
So we are saying that if there is no clarity and transparency in the PFJ 2.0, and we are repeating the mistakes of PFJ 1.0, then it should get to a point PFJ 2.0 may fail. Just as 1.0 is failing.
Interesting points. Interesting points there.
That's an area that if the ministry is really ready to work with stakeholders, there's one thing that is very clear about. There should be transparency in how the PFJ 2.0 is going to work. If there is transparency, we are going to get all of us to work together. But if in the beginning you are trying to hide information or you are trying to conjure figures that cannot be traced or they are not credible, it gives room for worry. And I'm afraid that if care is not taken, this PFJ 2.0 might fail.
I see. We'll wait to see what the outcome will be. Grateful for your time. Bismarck Tetteh, Head of Programs for the Peasant Farmers Association.